It's my pleasure to welcome you all to our first DCAYA dialogue, Building Systems of Reconnection. As a coalition of over 130 youth-serving organizations that's focused on equipping DC youth with the resources they need to make the successful transition to stable adulthood, we spend a lot of time and energy focused on the needs and opportunities for educational and workforce success. Through the support of our co-sponsor, the Community Foundation of the National Capital Region, we're thrilled to be joined by 3 leading experts in strategies to reconnect disconnected or opportunity youth, to have a frank conversation about the evolution in this field nationally, examine and explore how DC is tackling the issue here, and discuss what we can learn from the innovation of others moving ahead. And I'd like to open with Andy. Andy, if you could provide us a bit of history on the evolution of and sort of birth of re-engagement centers in other communities, and sort of the rationale behind their development and what you've seen trend as communities have gotten multiple systems or centers up and running.
What we call the re-engagement network is a recognition in a growing number of cities around the country that there is a group of young people who, under normal circumstances, are out of school, usually out of work, and will not be able to progress toward a high school or post-secondary credential without some routing assistance and support. It's an extension of the ongoing discussion that we've had the past 15, 20 years in this country about the need for youth development services and supports across the board. And it applies that youth development approach for older youth. It also picks up on the opportunity to offer kind of one-stop services, either in a physical way or a virtual way, that makes it really easy for young people to establish a working relationship with a caring adult who will then serve as a guide for them back into education and beyond.
So out of the 13 centers, we located them in the heart of the areas within our city that had the highest dropout rates. And that was critical as well. We were able to put these centers directly in the communities that we wanted to serve. So that's in Watts, that's in Borough Heights, that's in Pacoima. And after a year of running in our first year data, we had over 8,000 young people walk through our doors. We had over 5,500 of them develop an educational plan. And with that educational plan, we were able to tell the young person how far they were from graduating, what they needed to do to get that high school diploma or GED, and what was their next steps. From that 5,500, we were able to enroll about 2,500 in our WIA program, another 1,000 plus in various city programs we had, another 1,000 in the WorkServe centers. We know we had 1,000 young people, or a little over 1,000 young people that were complete dropouts that we re-engaged back into school. And that was really about having a new vision and new commitments, and specifically developing a system targeted to this population.
I think the big piece is really planting enough champions at different levels of government, but also having some key external champions who are willing to kind of jump into the water with you. I think we have been fortunate enough in DC to have a mayor who has led an organization that worked with this population, to having 2 deputy mayors, one for education and health and human services, who recognize the mutual dependency that they have upon one another, and that this population is one of those populations where that crosswork has to happen. And then being wrapped around with Raise DC, which is our city's Cradle to Career partnership. Many of you might be familiar with Strive. There's other cities that are doing this type of collaborative work, but Raise DC is our version. And being able to, as you mentioned earlier, Maggie, have a wide breadth of advocates, of education leaders, of school leaders, of nonprofits, of funders, of businesses sitting at the table and elevating reconnection as being one of the 5. And if there's only 5 and this is one of them, that's a pretty bold statement. So being able to to kind of have the breadth and depth of people who say, yes, this is a priority is one thing. And then having someone who's willing to step out and be a leader and actually saying, okay, we're going to go from talking about an idea to actually figuring out what it is that we have to do, and then how do we marshal resources and the will from all the various partners who need to be in place to make it work. How do we do that?
To check out our website, dc-aya.org, and to follow us on Twitter and to like us on Facebook, so you can continue to get updates and opportunities to engage in these kinds of peer learning sessions and learn from somebody on the West Coast what they're doing. It's a great opportunity. We really appreciated everyone's time, and thank you all again.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Thanks for the opportunity.
All right, thanks everyone.
Bye.
Bye.